Welcome to the CEO Pulse podcast. So today we have Bryant Aplass with us on the show, man. I appreciate it. We're going to be talking about the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. And today's episode, it's actually pretty special to me because we've been talking a lot about real estate. We've been talking a lot about branding and digital kind of stuff. But Brian launched his brick and mortar business back in 2004 and is still going strong right now. So I'm really excited to just tap into your brain and see what the entrepreneur journey has brought for you over the last, 15 years?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. 16 years now. So awesome, dude. Yeah, thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for everything you're doing for the community. I'm stoked, man. Let's rock.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So first question right out of the gate. I mean, how did you get started back in 2004? As an entrepreneur, and just tell us a little bit about you, how that went about, and what kind of led to that decision.
Cool. So I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. So I was Washington State, and I went to Washington State University. My mission was to play football in high school, DB, wide receiver, trying to make moves, trying to do my thing. College, whole different level, Division I. I went and tried out for the team and walked on as a place kicker, and I wasn't starting. And so I figured out, real quick, after the second year, I said, maybe I need to throw in the towel on being an athlete, and I need to concentrate that, all the effort that I was putting into athletics into something that would actually make money. So my sophomore year of school, I was actually trying to figure out different ways to make money, and there was a lot of T-shirts being ordered on a college campus. And I realized real quick, that there was some money in some T-shirts. And so, funny story, I'll tell you in a little bit, but I got nicknamed the Rag Man from one of my fraternity brothers' dads. And that name's kind of stuck with me because he's like, you're gonna have the Ragman jet, you're gonna have the Ragman, all the Ragman stuff. And I was just like, man, I don't even know what that means, but if it means I'm going to make a lot of money, let's roll. So I've always had that kind of inspiration of, something bigger, something in the future, something to work towards. And I think that's really important as an entrepreneur to make sure that there's always that path, there's always that goal, there's always that milestone. You have to be able to see what's going to happen. Otherwise, you don't know where you're driving. You don't know where you're going. And on the football field, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know if I was ever going to start. I didn't know if all my work was ever going to amount to anything. And so, I think realizing that at some point you may need to give up on something if it's not really working out. And it's okay. It's not considered a failure. I was a good athlete in high school. It wasn't so much in college. It's all good. I adopted that. I rolled with that. And I rolled with the punches. And I think in business, it's a fight. It's a grind. Everybody is out to get your money.
Exactly.
How are you going to get your money before they get your money, right? Yeah. So it was just one of those things where I had to order and write a check for over, I think, $3,500 for some T-shirts that I was ordering for my fraternity.
That's a big risk when you're in college, man. I mean, it doesn't really matter what background you come from. I mean, it's a lot of money when you're paying for tuition, school, and then you have your own overhead and stuff like that. It's adopting the idea that you're going to jump into something head on.
The hardest part was collecting the money, because I had fronted the order. I had told the company, I'm good, but now it was time to collect from everybody that ordered the shirts. And back in the day, early 2000s, we didn't have all the technology that we have available as resources right now to make business easy. We're sitting here in a great 2020, decade with technology at our fingertips. We're inundated with, everywhere we turn, a new app, a new way of doing something, a different CRM. How are you going to track your KPIs? Everybody's doing things different. You want to know that what you're doing is aligned with what they're doing, and you're trying to follow. You can't. You got to be your own person. You got to make sure your own destiny, your own milestones, and your own goals are aligned with what your efforts are each day. And so that is one of the other major things that I learned starting a business, at 20 years old. And ultimately, that didn't go too well. I wrote a check for $3,500. It was hard to collect the money. from everybody. There were shirts left over. I worked with the vendor to order, the shirts, and it felt like I was pushing him to get me back artwork proofs, get me back revision requests, get me back pricing information so I could start pre-collecting the money. It was just a struggle. And when I realized that it can't be this difficult, that's when a business was built. And I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, they figure out a way to provide a solution to a problem. And when you're a solution-based company, and that's why I love what I'm doing right now so much with real estate. And you mentioned, after 15 years of running a business, and I've had the opportunity to step away from the day-to-day operations, and it's been very fruitful for many, many years. I was able to graduate debt-free. My sister Casey and my sister Kenika, my younger sisters. I have an older sister, Carrie, as well. So I have 3 wonderful sisters. 2 of those sisters, picked up where I left off after I graduated and went through 4 years, and then another 2 years after that second one graduated. So we pretty much owned Washington State University for about 9 years as far as apparel goes.
Man, that's huge.
I used to have to buy people, a case of beer just to try out my company. I made my business cards at Kinko's.
That's clever.
I made my business cards at Kinko's. You got to start somewhere, right? It was 20
Absolutely,
bucks.
Man.
I think my dad loaned me like $300-400 or something like that, to get everything off the ground. And it was just one of those things where solution providing, an answer to a problem. And from there, it kind of just took off. And, I had reached out to other friends at other campuses, University of Idaho, Oregon State, University of Oregon, University of Washington, even doing business at Arizona State University. By the time I had graduated, I had reps that were built out at all these different colleges. And so I was pretty much, rolling by the time I graduated. And I said, man, what do I do now? Do I go work for corporate America? College is over, And so during my summers, I interned at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, my sophomore summer and my junior summer. And that was a shirt and tie job, 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. I never drank more coffee in my life, but I knew what hard work was, and I knew what corporate America was, and I knew that I could be a branch manager making, 6-figure salary and riding around Enterprise vehicles and, have a whole crew, and that could be my 3 to 5 year plan after graduating college. And I looked at it as, if I'm ever going to jump, now's the time. So
it's I want to backtrack a little bit. I mean, it's pretty impressive what you did. You basically became, you did the same thing that Zuckerberg did for Facebook in college. You just did it for apparel, right? So you started growing within Washington State and then branched out and kind of created satellite operations throughout different universities. That's what you basically what happened.
Yeah, I built rep systems.
Awesome. And so you also mentioned, you were an athlete and then pivoted from being an athlete into focusing that competitive edge that you probably picked up there. I see quite a bit of entrepreneurs actually pick up the competitive edge through the discipline of being athletes. Either football or something like that. Brent Daniels has a similar story. The beginnings.
Yep.
And it's pretty impressive to see all that being channeled into something as productive as to what you've built. How do you think that really played a part into it, like as far as the competitiveness that came in and your dedication to something that was structured before you launched into your business? Or
absolutely. I think it just goes with wanting to excel and wanting to be a better you. Mm-hmm. When you're in a team environment, you have a chance to improve and become a starter if you're not a starter. Once you're a starter, you're trying to be the captain. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Once you're a captain, you're trying to say, okay, what other sports can I play? And can I letter in football, basketball, and wrestling? And you're trying to always figure out how to get good at something, right?
Right.
Otherwise, man, it's just one of those things where I didn't really ever feel like settling because I didn't want to be somebody that just sat the bench. And so I think athletics played that role in entrepreneurship, was because I wasn't trying to just ride the bench. Otherwise, let me clock in. Please give me a time card. Tell me when I need to be there, and just let me show up and do my thing, and let me get my paycheck every 10 days, and let's roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're either built like that or you're not. Or you think you're an entrepreneur and you go through that path and you realize that
It's not for you.
it beats you up, and it took away from your family time, and it took away from your relationships with your friends and your family, and priority wise, it just wasn't as high as the time that it offset with your family and friends.
Right.
And those are personal things that you either got to make a line in the sand and say, you know what, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to build something, and here's my plan, and set it out in 3-5 years, and go back to that 12-week work yearbook and break it down into, quarters, and ultimately just condense and make short-term goals equal your long-term plan. And I just, you're not always just going to kick a 65-yard field goal. My longest was only 58. But I'm just saying, you're not always going to kick that unless you practiced your 30, 40, 50-yarders so many times, so much, and envisioned yourself splitting the uprates, 55 yards plus.
I want to pick your brain on your thoughts on creating plans for 3-5 years. But I also want to ask you about. I mean, you grew from. I'm assuming did you start in your dorm room or
fraternity basement?
Yeah. All right. Cool. Close enough. It's a very similar story when you talk to different people who all right. I started in my garage. I was working from the kitchen, and 10 years, 15 years down the road, you're sitting in a 20,000 square foot building, and you have over 300,000 different product that you push out, right, through your company. Exactly. So it's fucking amazing to see what happened, from shirts and rags, to and literally rags to riches, right, in terms of the company.
Yeah.
And
I used to use rags, t-shirt rags, to wash my car.
Oh, bro.
You know what I'm saying, though? So it's like those rags put me in this chair to share this story with you and your viewers. So thank you.
Yeah. No. I mean, again, thank you for being here, and then sharing the journey, man. It's pretty intense when you go through the process and then look back, right? I mean, I'm sure that you look back at your journey right now and you start, thinking about the growing pains and the biggest lessons and the should haves or I shouldn't have, while looking at that journey. Can you throw some of those out there for us?
I think things come in full circle. I don't know if you've ever read the book The Secret, but the law of reciprocity is one of the strongest laws out there in my beliefs. I think the more you put out, the more it's going to come back. So I'm a big value provider. If I can add value in any fashion, I'm trying to. There's a lot of young entrepreneurs. I love, that your podcast isn't just real estate or just, marketing or just, it's everybody's journey as a CEO, what they learned, what they could do differently. And, that really appealed to me. So I'm really having a great time talking to you and sharing the journey.
Thanks, man. So talking about, you mentioned planning and having, envisioning your plans 3-5 years. How do you approach that, especially at a young age? I mean, did you have solid guys that you could go to, mentors, people that you look up to, or just were you one of those persons that started asking questions left and right? Or
you know what, my dad, everything I tried to bounce off of him. My good buddy Grant Garlish, he was best man at my wedding. He played a big role in my success. I had a lot of people along the way. Good buddy Adam, and we just kind of celebrated our small wins and had fun when we were going through the process. And
that's huge.
And when I talked about full circle, what I wanted to touch on is like when I got the call from I picked up my phone one day, and this was about 7 years ago, and the caller ID said NFL. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, I'm going to pick this one up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to pick this one up. And on the other end, it was the NFL calling to ask if I can help them with Super Bowl 49 here in Arizona.
Are you serious?
And I was like, you know what? I got the call. You know what I'm saying? Like Deion Sanders off.
They put me in, coach.
Yeah, give me the ball. I got the call. You know, let's go. I actually printed those shirts.
Take that 65-yard kick.
I actually printed those shirts for Deion Sanders. You get the call, give me the
shit.
ball. So it's been a journey.
I didn't know that.
The last 7 years I've done the Super Bowl merchandise. And I was invited to go to Super Bowl 50 in San Francisco. And it just so happened that my beautiful wife, Beata, and our daughter, Bailey, you know, Beata grew up in the Bay Area. So San Francisco is like the thing. It was the brand new stadium. And we went and enjoyed Super Bowl 50. And that was my starting. I was the starting kicker. Because that law of reciprocity, I kept on, you know, working and giving and figured out in full circle. Sure enough, I'm 50-yard line at the Super Bowl, and I'm not dressed, but I'm sure as hell there. And I played my part in the game because everybody's wearing my hats and my shirts and
Oh, man,
all my
I love
stuff. And then for the next 6 years, even including, you know, Miami right now, we're in charge of the merchandise. So it evolved and it went to the NBA Finals. Team USA Olympics, you know, Coca-Cola, you know, FedEx, I mean, Marriott, you know, you name it. You know, we're pretty much Fortune 100. You know, we've done work with them. We work with them, and we do a good job. So,
Are you guys catching this from the basement of the fraternity in college, man? This evolves if you stick with it long enough. If you enjoy the small wins, I think you said something really, really important, man, because I know I've been guilty of it, where I forget to celebrate the little happy moments because I'm so focused on, all right, I want that big picture. I became a train and I'm gonna crush it. And I'm gonna go that way.
Yep.
And along the way, just miss all kinds of smiles and connections and it's so important to enjoy those moments, the small wins. Do you see those as the purpose of everything that you're doing, or more of as a fuel?
That's a great question, my man. Because sometimes I feel like, you know, am I good? Because financially, I'm good. You know, I have enough residual income, passive income to pay all my bills and more. What keeps me going, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's the ability to put it out there in the universe and just provide that value and build and mold relationships, because anybody that knows me knows that I'm a loyal, relationship building, family man. And I will do anything it takes to make sure that if our relationship ends, it had nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was not the one that didn't provide value. You know, but it's a give and take. I'm at the point in life where if you're not providing value to the relationship, then I'm the one giving and giving and giving, and there's nothing ever coming back. It's hard, man. It's hard because no big issues. I'm not that close to a lot of people I was in high school, and that stuff happens, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I think that's just one of those things in life that kind of happens organically.
Yeah. And you evolve and you start getting into different groups and you start getting into different levels, and it's all about leveling up, and those relationships start getting better and better, and that's when life starts getting better and better. You know, there's sunshine, there's your diet, and there's your friendships, your relationships. Those are the three medicines that ultimately keep you healthy. And if you pull the relationships away and all you do is work and you shut everything out and you don't go outside and you don't enjoy and you don't celebrate those small wins and have that vacation and that sun hitting you, and you're trying to get, you know, the fast food and you're just trying to grind, and just 2-3 years, I just need to do this.
Right.
And it turns into 20 to 30 years. So celebrating those small wins and providing, you know, those short-term goals that I love the 12-week work year, because it allows you to, just concentrate on what's right in front of you. Once you hit that, set something else. It always gives you something to look forward to, and that's cool.
What is a 12-week work year?
It's a book, and I went to an event in Texas, and they were basically saying, just stop thinking so far in advance. Quit thinking 2 years, 3 years, 5-year plan. Think 90 days. You know what I'm saying? And put your goals for 90 days. And then when those 90 days come, put the other 90 days. And compartmentalize all the things that you have to do. Because if you think about everything that you have to do, and your to-do list is just a mile long, it's really hard to get things done. And as entrepreneurs, your list just keeps growing and growing and growing. So we're really concentrating on in our business now in roles and projects and tasks and goals. So
and you break those down.
RTG. So my boy Matt Lights is, the one that's been helping me get this implemented. He's one of the co-founders of Clever Investor. Shout out to my boy Cody Sperber. I wouldn't even have gotten into real estate, if he wasn't there. And we're implementing right now in our operation, roles, tasks, and goals. So RTG, that's our main thing. And if we can assign our roles, make sure we know what everybody's doing in the organization. We can assign project tasks, immediate tasks, and long-term tasks to reach those goals. And we should be set. Roles, tasks, and goals, and we're good.
Can you elaborate a little bit, because I think it's very interesting. I mean, it's coming. I'm really big on when it comes to structuring, the businesses, and then setting up responsibilities and all that stuff. But role, I mean, I think you're taking a different spin on what I'm used to seeing. So can you elaborate on that role? How do you define the roles? How do you define the tasks?
Absolutely.
And how do you set and keep accountability for the goals?
Okay, so first off, when you establish your roles, they have to be visual. Everybody in the operation has to understand what each person's role is in the operation. So we post our roles on the wall. There's no hold back. That's what gives you that accountability. Because we know that these, and my team now is probably like 25 deep. So in a short amount of time, as far as the wholesaling and the investing side goes. And so each role is assigned a goal. Okay, you want to get this. Okay, well, how are you going to get that? You need a task. You need a project task, for what it needs to be. Get the website done. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to get the website done? It needs, these 3 things in order to get done. You got to run your APIs. You got to bring your content over from your old site, and these things. So the ultimate goal is to get the website done, but your tasks are bring this, bring this, bring this. So that's kind of what we've been using in our operation, and it's working out tremendously because it's holding accountable each person's role. Instead of shooting over emails and saying, here, get this done, we're just adding it to the task board. And we just have our sheets, and each person in our organization has their tab. And if we want to assign a task to anybody in the tab, we can just do that. And then we put the project goal as the ultimate end goal. And once we get to the goal, we celebrate. Small wins. We launched the website. Let's go to dinner. And we put that in there, what we're going to celebrate at the end of that. So everybody knows that, look, it's fun to let's click a box and say completed, or cross something off on your to-do list. But it's also fun to see that we're going to dinner as soon as this thing's done, and these are the 4 people that are going to make it happen.
Right.
So
I like that, man. You have a very pragmatic way to keep full transparency. I don't think I've seen that being done in any companies. I mean, as far as I often see the goals and the tasks, but I don't see the roles and definitions of the breakdown, the full breakdown of stuff. I love it. So
things get missed in the emails, man.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna eventually, launch this. We're gonna eventually do this. Hey, check out this and this and this, and see which one we want to do. It always gets swept under the rug. There's so much moving parts. But if you actually assign, you know, the task, and everybody knows that you're the implementer and that's your role. And now all of a sudden our goal is to eventually get here, and the task is this. You just eventually are going to get that crossed off, and you're going to mark it completed, and you're going to see the small win at the end of it.
Right, and yeah, there's no way to get away from it either. For example, an email, you know what, I missed it, it went to my spam, it went, I've heard that 1,000 times,
I could go, hey, and that's why I'm so adamant about this process, is because sometimes in your operation, you're asking somebody like, hey, where are we at with that? It's been like 4 weeks. Like, where are we at with that? Oh, well, you have me doing a lot of different things. What's priority?
Yeah.
What do you mean what's priority? You know, it's on your task list, and it has, you know, priority levels on there. You know what I'm saying? Like
level 1, level 2,
you know,
level 3.
And so it's a really awesome, you know, Excel sheet and everything. And it's totally cool. And it's not some crazy CRM and, you know, KPIs and all this and all this and all this and all this. So I'd be happy to share it with you, man. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love to take a look at it, and put it to practice into my stuff. So you have, I mean, you've obviously had a pretty well developed journey as far as mindset goes. I mean, you did start in a competitive stage, and then you launched your business. When you launched the business, and what I'm trying to dig into is like how did your mindset evolve throughout the years from 2004 to right now? Because right now, I mean, you seem like a pretty open type of person, and open to the possibilities. Just the fact that you transitioned from something that you had a very solid grip into, and I mean, it's still running, but you started looking into other stuff, tells me that you're an open-minded person, right? So my question is, how did you when you started off, did it start off just like a side gig, and did you have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan? What was it?
Cool. In regards to real estate when I started off?
No,
or in regards to
the first business.
Well, in college, you're just trying to.
And the name of the company is Explosion Sportswear. Right?
Correct. Yes.
Explosion
Yeah.
Sportswear.
Exactly. So I mean, in college, it was just a matter of not racking up a bunch of student debt. You know what I'm saying? How can I make sure that I'm not racking up debt? And so how can I make money in college? And
super smart.
Mowing $5 yards wasn't going to cut it.
Yeah.
So
super
I
smart.
saw an opportunity, and just kind of rolled with it, and it's worked.
How did that start to become a business? Because I mean, you see.
Well, because I ordered from a company and it didn't go well, right? I was pushing the buttons. I was trying to get the artwork back. I was trying to get the revisions back. I was trying to make sure that the shirt showed up on time so it didn't miss the event. I was trying to make sure that I had the price ahead of time so I can collect the money so that I wasn't fronting money. All these things that were like stopping me from being successful in my role in the fraternity as social chairman. I was elected to put on events, and I wanted my events to be great.
Yeah.
And in order for my event to be great, the eventees need to show up correct and on time,
man. You gotta
every
rep.
time.
You gotta rep.
That didn't work. So my motto in Explosion Sportswear is correct and on time every time. Satisfaction is an understatement.
Man, it's incredible how, and you use that in your business. Satisfaction is an understatement, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, I love it. So you started with this one purpose. I mean, which wasn't that. I mean, it's not a small goal by any means. Trying to leave college debt free. It's a big chunk thing to take on when you're that young. But you started with that in mind, and then it started growing to something else. What I'm trying to get to is many times people who want to start off or kick off in entrepreneurship, they're thinking about, all right, this is what I want, and they have this big, humongous picture in their head of what they want, right? And because it's not clear, they hesitate, and they fall into the analysis paralysis of things. So you started with one thing that just kind of started, got the ball rolling and got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and next thing you know, boom, you're like the NFL provider.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're largest screen printer in the state of Arizona, and it didn't come through not a lot of hard work, sweat, and tears. And a lot of people, besides myself, contributed to that, including my sisters. And it's just one of those things where I had a great opportunity. I seized it, and then I stuck with it instead of taking the easy route and going to work for Enterprise and riding that corporate America role after graduating college. So that was kind of the thing. And when I go back to my dad being my hero and being, you know, my sounding board and running ideas by him. You know,
huge.
it was one of those things where my dad, as smart as he is, he's an engineer. He you know, he dropped out of college, you know, and it was just one of those things where my dad's the smartest guy I ever known, you know, and I will ever know probably. And you know, he just recently beat cancer.
Oh, wow.
And he was diagnosed with only 6 months left to live. And you know, our family came together like crazy. It was just a couple years ago. And I found out that morning of Super Bowl 50 that my dad had cancer the day after. You talk about a Super Bowl hangover. My dad didn't make the call until after I enjoyed my Super Bowl 50 with my wife, and because he knew how hard I worked to get there and get invited to the Super Bowl. And he had to break the news that the doctor told him he had maybe 6 months to live.
Man.
And so I don't mean to get all emotional, but life is short. And as an entrepreneur, you're always diving into that next project. And I've started multiple businesses, you know, interactive apparel, augmented reality, bring t-shirt logos to life and create intense marketing campaigns and immerse the, you know, consumer in the brand, and, you know, all sorts of amazing things. But each idea takes more time.
Right.
And time is what we can't get back. And so those people that steal your time and they don't provide the value, those are the people that you have to let it run its course. And that's why in relationships, it always goes back to, you know, I'm going to give it my all, and you are too. And if it's not reciprocating, if it's not reciprocity, then it's no big deal. It's just that we don't need to continue to, you know, push the inevitable. And, you know, it's never going to be something I'm going to feel fulfilled in. So I'm not going to put my energy into that anymore. And that's with businesses. And that's why it's like, if you're not starting on the team, or if you started one business, and I kind of lost a little direction at one point in time, and I was buying businesses, I was, you know, everything was complementary to my business. Everybody had a pitch. Everybody wanted me to invest. You know, I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in poor investments. You know what I'm saying? Hundreds. I've made some money in some investments, but there's not really anybody that you can invest your money into, personally, in my opinion, except your own business. Because you know that that result is going to be based off of your hard work and your ethic.
You have to bet on yourself as an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
It's one of the hardest things to do, man.
I can, now that I know that I can't give somebody 250 grand and expect $1 million back.
Right.
But I can give myself 250 grand and be in control of getting that $1 million back. It's a whole different ballgame. Well, and that's what I love about real estate, because I'm buying assets and I'm buying opportunities and I'm buying passive income and I'm buying all these, you know, different, you know, commercial buildings that I own and multifamily buildings that I own and single family homes. And it's like, I'm just a little t-shirt printing ragman type of guy that built out some reps. And everything that I've done in my whole business, you know, has anybody that's ever sold for me on my team has strictly been 100% commission. And that's the way I'm going to keep it forever. And that's what I'm doing with my real estate business. And I think that's important because they have to work hard. It's eat what they kill.
Right.
And so
it's merit, based on merit, man. I love that.
And so I know some of my, you know, friends, collaborates, competitors, they, you know, agree on a base salary and, you know, a small override and a small commission. I'm one of those people that, man, I don't want anybody on my bus that I put in the chair that I'm supposed to be driving, and all they did is sit down on that bus and clocked in and clocked out.
Right.
And they just are waiting for that 10-day thing. And I don't know their mindset. I don't know if I don't hire for potential. That is a big thing that I learned, is don't hire because you think somebody's going to be good.
What do you hire based on? I'm curious.
Ah, yes. Yeah. I try to hire an expert. So ultimately, if they are good at social media already, I'm going to hire them as a social media spot on my company. And I'm going to say, look, it's 100% commission. Every sale that you produce based off of trackable results back to the social media efforts is going to result in this type of compensation. All right? I ran auctions, not me, but I hired a guy recently that ran auctions for used car sales. I'm putting him in charge of running auctions for my real estate stuff. So it's like, I'm just taking people that are already experts at their craft, and I'm saying, look, how do I get you plugged in? You're a good cold caller. You've had good cold calling success selling glass repair for your windshields at Safe Auto Glass. How do I get you on the phone doing cold calling for my operation, and you're already good at and comfortable talking to people?
You're cutting the training curve. So how are you finding these people?
You know, we'll post ads on Indeed, Craigslist, social media postings, and you know, events and networking events. I think meeting people in person at different events has been one of the key features to, you know, recruiting, and also just creating that environment. As a leader of a company, I think the most important takeaway that you can take away from this whole entire meeting and podcast is how to figure out a way to align the personal goals of the people working for you with the organizational goals of the company. How can you figure out a way, because if they set the goals for themselves and they feel like they're already an expert at what they're doing and they're creating that path within it, you're no longer trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. You're not saying, look, here's what you got to do. Just call these probate people. Just talk to them. You know, go meet with an attorney. Go to lunch. Get a list. You're trying to basically say, look, your last job was, you know, networking and relationship building. That's all you're going to do here. I want you to go sit with an attorney and build a relationship. I want you to go and figure out every networking event that relates to multifamily. If you're going to go concentrate on cap rates, multifamily, and different long-term investments and buy and holds for investors, I want you in those meetings. That's what I want you to do. But I'm not going to put my social media guy, who's really good at doing online stuff, in that meeting with the multifamily guys that have been doing this for 15 years, right? So that's not really going to align their personal goal. If his personal goal is to get better at social media, then I'm going to make sure that his role in my company is social media. And then I create the milestones and the goals and the incentives and the awards and the small 90-day, you know, tasks that equal that.
That's a great engine, man. I love it. Also, one of the things that happens is that when companies start to post, you know, it's like fishing, right? So you're throwing out the line, see what you catch. When you catch something, meaning you know, candidate, they'll interview that candidate for that particular job that they need. But I've seen it once where a company actually uses the question of what are you good at? What are your strengths besides what applies to that particular job? And I mean, I think the discovery process of having somebody in front of you and having that conversation, you can find out a lot of good stuff if you hire for cold callers or a marketing person. But that guy is really, really good at accounting. Like, shit, turn him into your, you know, and into your book,
it's not brains.
It's
not, you know, rocket science, right? Like, it's putting people in the right chair and on the right bus, and it's driving them to a goal, and it's just making sure that their goal, personal goals, where they want to be, if they want to get a fix and flip or they want to get a 3 buy and holds, you're going to basically make sure that the company is going to support their vision and their goal.
Right.
So you're going to say, okay, you know, this is the quarter that you're going to get your own sub 2. You're going to get your own rep. We're going to make sure that this happens, because they're diving in all day, every day, trying to go 100% commission and meeting these checks and get the quick wholesale deal and get the quick, you know, assignment and get that. But that's not ultimately going to get them to where they're trying to get to. And nowadays, people don't want to sign on for a company for life.
Yeah.
They're trying to reach their personal goals, improve their personal skill level, and they got a 3 to 5 year roadmap.
Right.
You know, Pace Morby said it right, man. He's basically trying to say, look, I want to use my superpower, right? And then I also want to make sure that I understand that these people, I can't hide everything from them. I can't like hoard all the information back because I'm worried about them stealing it so that they can go start their own business. They're going to eventually evolve, and whether they feel like the CEO is their seat and they want to drive, or if they feel like I just want to be in a company that celebrates the small wins, doesn't knock me for, you know, doing an amazing job, like my brother-in-law, my sister Kenika's husband. He killed it. He smashed every record for financial advisor and all this amazing stuff that he does for big businesses, and his boss just kept on saying it's not enough. It's not enough. But he's breaking records. That's not the leader that I want to be. My brother-in-law left that company and became, you know, the regional vice president for another company. And he was frustrated because he felt like he was doing good, but the acclamations and the rewards didn't ever come.
Well, I think it also comes back to you know, having that sense of meaning and feeling that you're part of that business, right? It's when you're spending half your time at a company, man, you at least want to feel like it's family somehow, some way, that you're connected aside from that regular paycheck. And I think it's one of the most important things in leadership. And I'll go as far as saying, as you know, I think that's one of the reasons why I think your model has been working in recruiting actually experts and finding experts and then, you know, plugging them into your operations, because they see you as a leader, they like the person that you are, and then you're also taking the time to look at their personal interests, and you turn it into you throw it into the melting pot of what the company is. Not a lot of people do that, man. That's huge. I'm gonna give you props for that. It's amazing.
Everybody posts the job.
Yeah.
And they say, I need this
Do
person.
your job, you're getting paid.
I need this person.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know who's going to come interview for that. Mm-hmm. And you have to post, you know, this is how much it gets paid, right? The normal way of doing things, right? You're going to post a job opportunity. Pays, you know, $15 an hour, $22 an hour.
Responsibilities,
You're going to be our marketing director, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's not what we do. We say our company's growing. Mm-hmm. We need talent. If you're talented and you like real estate, we want to talk to you.
You got the door open, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And ultimately what we do, and we even advertise it as 100% commission. It's funny because people love the fact that they aren't told how much they can make. This isn't a $15 an hour job. This is 6 figures plus, and you're never going to be plateaued or maxed out. You just keep on going. I love that. I love it so much. So each position in our company has been specified and outlined of what the role is, what the job is, what the KPIs are for that specific job, and they get to choose whether they want this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. You know what it goes back to? It reminds me. It's funny because now I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, and I'm watching all these cartoons with her all the time. Mm-hmm. And I don't get a chance to watch cartoons, but man, every time I get home and I want to turn on football, she wants to turn on a cartoon. And she is my one and only daughter, and I love her to death, and she gets pretty much anything she wants from Daddy right now. So we watched the Bee movie the other day. And the bees, if you haven't seen it, they had to pick their job. And there were 7 different jobs available. You know, you were either going to be the beekeeper, or you were going to be the mail delivery bee, or you were going to, and so they had to go, and they got the opportunity to pick. So yeah, we know we wanted to be in real estate, and now we know that there's 1,000 different ways to get a wholesale deal.
Right.
And there's a million ways to, you know, unravel the onion and figure out what's inside and how to ultimately get to your goal. But do you want to work probates? Do you want to work pre-foreclosures? Do you want to work code violations? Do you want to work tax liens? Do you want to work HOA? Do you want to work, you know, multifamily and landlords? Or do you want to reverse cash and co-wholesale? What role do you want to do? And then we've outlined the tasks and the KPIs for each role. So it's awesome because they come in and they get to actually choose out of all these options how they want to do wholesaling. It's not just like we want an acquisition specialist. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that may be the front headline, but once you get in there,
Yeah,
we're gonna let you choose, so it aligns more with your personal goals. Because if you're gonna want to be a real estate agent, and you see an opportunity to work with other agents and call 50 agents a week and talk to them about what they have and pocket listings and how to build relationships and go to networking events with agents, that may be where you want to go, because you're in real estate school, so you want to complement your retail
one with the other. Yeah.
You know, shout out to Steve Trang, Stunning Homes Realty.
Beast.
You know, so
We love you, Steve.
yeah. So you know, it's just one of those things where I think as long as you're concentrating on, you know, the people in your organization and their personal goals, and asking them and getting a little sensitive with them on what's it going to take to reach your goals, you know, and force them to actually create some short-term goals, not just this 3 to 5 year plan stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, and be there so they can be held accountable for their own stuff. A lot of people lose the momentum on their stuff once they get, you know, the safety and the security, quote unquote security of a regular paycheck.
Yep.
And so they're like, yeah, I want to start and I've seen it 1,000 times, man. I want to start a business. I'm doing this. I have this idea. I want to launch this. And then they get all excited. That, you know, put together a plan. They start, you know, dropping posts for a week, and then they get the first paycheck on a side gig they got just to supplement something for the meantime, and it's like putting a Band-Aid over the over the injury, over the cut. They put a Band-Aid over the cut, and all that fire they had behind, you know, the idea of the business kind of fades away because they got that Band-Aid on. And I think it's something that, you know, it's a high risk, right? That can happen. It's likely to happen if you don't have somebody else to go to that will keep you accountable, or that will at least remind you, or you're gonna be fucking embarrassed of not, you know, coming through with your stuff because you already put it on the table and that person is there with you.
We have scorecards every single day.
Yeah.
We got job forms that track everything.
And that's for your guys' and their stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then every week we go over the score. Every week we go over the score sheet.
You guys better be writing this stuff down.
I'm not the expert, man. I just, you know.
No, but you're implementing like a beast.
I've been through it, man. You know, since 20. So I got 20 years on this game.
There's no experts, man. We're all. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you're learning, you're growing, you're finding out new stuff every single day.
Yep.
So, I mean, that train of thought right there will make you're successful as an entrepreneur. But yeah, implementing and having that conscious growth mentality. I think. I mean,
all that anybody needs to really probably understand is that you don't have to have everything roadmapped and flow charted out and figured out before you get started. Analysis paralysis, right?
Right.
If I would have just, you know, had to know everything about doing my first fix and flip, I wouldn't have done it, you know, because there's so much to learn. You got to learn through your mistakes.
So many moving parts.
And, you know, you got to make sure that you have a good, you know, good support system, and you know, you're tracking your risk versus reward, and not, you know, getting in over your head. You know, I'm blessed with a 800 plus credit score, and you know, there's been, you know, multiple times in businesses where, you know, things got hard, and you know, I had over, you know, 7 figures in accounts receivables that people owe me, and you know, I got payroll to meet, and things are getting tough, and it's just like, how are you going to figure this all out? How are you going to compartmentalize and keep like so much stress? Because as a CEO, that is your meal ticket. If you can be cool as a cucumber and chill the hell out when things are so hot, that's the difference. Because as an employer and as a leader, you can't be you can't be raising your voice and getting all these emotional and going crazy on people, because that shows lack of control. And all they want is somebody to hold them accountable. And if the person that is supposed to be holding them accountable can't even keep themselves in check, it's a light bulb, and they're like, I can do it better. And that's when you have, you know, people in your organization starting to steal, take, and move, and you know, eventually compete, because there's lack of leadership, lack of accountability, and you know, it's a domino effect. So I don't know. I just think that, you know, relationships is the main thing, and if you invest into the relationship and their personal goals, none of that will ever happen because you already have a relationship and you already have a personal relationship that you just be real with them. When things get tough, hey man, can I break it down for you? This is where we're at with the operation, and this is what's causing me some stress. And I know it may be outside of your, role or responsibility, but I'm leaning on, asking for help now, and do it that way instead of just flipping out and pulling your hair out and saying nobody's getting paid till we get this and da da da. It's not the right way, in my opinion, to do things.
I agree.
Because business is going to get tough.
Oh yeah.
And people think it's all sunshine and rainbows when they leave an organization or they try to do something, out of the gates, and they realize real quick that this is a special type of person that can put up and compartmentalize all that, stress and keep cool in that hot environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned something really important. I think it's connecting and being real with people. I think that's one of the foundations of real leadership. I have a background in servant leadership, and that's how I ran my stuff, since forever. Aside from the first few years where I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I still don't know sometimes, but
we don't know.
I play
Nobody
it cool.
knows.
I play it cool, yeah. and if the way I see it, it's just, it's exactly what you just said right now. It's if I'm not spinning, the engine is not going to be spinning. You know what I mean? If I'm not going crazy, the engine's not going to be going crazy. But you mentioned leadership and having that real and one-to-one connection with people. So in terms of leadership, coming all the way back from 2014 to now, what do you think have been the key elements to your success as an entrepreneur and as a leader to the company and the people and the results that you've gotten so far?
I've learned a lot, and it was always like hard work and just put in the work and expect things to, happen. And I realized that you got to invest in people. You got to invest in your team. You got to get personal, and you got to make sure that they know that there is, some goals that are going to be obtained. And when those goals are obtained, there's going to be some small wins and some celebrations. And so it wasn't just like reach our first 5 million in sales and then get to 10 million without celebrating. We knew that once we hit, a certain number, we were going to go do this. And we did. And I had so much freaking fun. Like, it's been a blast. My 20s, my 30s, it was just incredible.
Sounds like half of the journey has been celebrating wins, man. Well, it's important, though, that you're catching those small wins and then making something out of them.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. I know I went forever without even recognizing some of that stuff. Up until recently. It's not something that, okay, cool, I'll close a deal, I'll do something that I feel really good about, and like, yes, and as soon as my hand goes down from that yes, I'm already focused on the next thing that I want to, tackle. And it's, stop being, for a minute, smell the roses.
Life is short. Like I said, you never know when you're going to get that call and somebody that you love, somebody that's your mentor, somebody that had your back and will do anything for you, says he has 6 months to live, and he fought like crazy. And you know what? The funny thing is that my dad is now 68 years old, and he hasn't retired. And you know what he did? On my 5th anniversary of being in business, he started his own business. All right? He was 50, probably 6 years old, 55 years old. And he started his own hydraulic repair business. And he has never had more fun.
That's amazing, man.
Worked so hard, because you work harder when it's your business. And as smart as he was, being, from working jobs for 15 years to 5 years to bouncing around, Panasonic to, different hydraulics, companies,
was he always in the corporate world?
Hydraulic sales, Poclane tractors, cylinders, pumps, that was his stuff. And now he owns the machinery to fix people's problems when their machines quit working, when their pistons don't work, their pumps, their cylinders, and it's him and like two, three people that support, the vision there. And he's had the time of his life, and that's why he beat cancer, because he wasn't clocking in every day for somebody else's dream. and he knew that he needed to get back to his company and his employees that depended on him and his family members that support him in anything he does. And he told me that he would have never done this if he didn't see that his own son, his own blood, could have the balls to go and get started and be that CEO. He would have never done it. He would have worked for somebody, and who knows if he would have had the, energy and passion to keep on living when that doctor said, you got 6 months. So it's not for everybody. Being a CEO is tough, but for those of you on the fence, thinking about if you got what it takes, you never know till you try.
Exactly, you never know until you try, and then you'll never know the ripple effects that those actions may take. I mean, again, I like to look at the at the whole journey from point now to point start, and you started in the basement of a fraternity, which eventually led to something that can have been potentially the trigger to save give your dad the motivation to continue moving forward, to give him the inspiration to start his own stuff, and just paint a whole different light on somebody else's life that close to you. That's amazing. That's what I love about the power of entrepreneurship, man. It's creating a dream, it's creating an idea of something, and then just going balls out. See if if it sticks, it sticks. And if it doesn't stick, I gave it my all. There's no doubt in your head, that, or in my head, that I dropped everything I had into that thing. And if it didn't work, it wasn't because of lack
just
of
because
effort.
one business doesn't work,
you pivot.
Doesn't mean that your next business is not going to succeed, because you picked up and learned a lot of stuff along that way in that journey of that first business. So even if you go back and you take a job and you take a paycheck, you're still hopefully in an organization that is allowing you and your role to flourish, and it's aligning with your personal goals. But your personal goals may be, hey, I want to get a little bit better at social media, and then in 3 years, based off of this company's knowledge and what we're doing here, I'm going to be starting my own social media agency.
Right.
And whether you want to inform your employer of your short-term plan, or if you want to keep that within you and your family, that's up to you. Sometimes you like full transparency, you feel better about what the solution is, but plans change. Yeah. So you don't always have to be full transparent with your employer about your intent to leave. It's kind of like, just do your thing, do your job, and make sure that you're adding more skills to your personal goals that you're trying to achieve, and try to find out which company, because there's a lot of companies that need somebody for social media, which company will allow you to take extra social media courses, and they'll pay for the courses because they want you to become better at your job.
Yeah.
Once you start seeing these companies that start paying for people to go to college so that eventually they can get a degree and leave the company. Mm-hmm. It's like,
it's about empowering.
What? Who does that? But you know what? They know that, hey, they may not be able to offer the biggest compensation package and the best benefits and the highest salary and the biggest commissions and bonuses, but they'll use their tax write-off for their profits to put that money to work for their employees instead of giving it to Uncle Sam. And in turn, those people will work their ass off because they don't want to have student debt and high interest and rack up a bunch of stuff. And they'll work for that company and give that company everything because that company is giving them their future. And that's what I want to do. And it's not paying for people to go to college. It's just, if their future in real estate happens to be, I want to have 5 houses and get cash flow, or I want to be able to fix and flip 4 homes a year, you better bet your ass that my company and my partners and everybody on my side, Garrett Schmidt, awesome guy, Cody Sperber, great guy, great friends of mine for a decade. We run Green Elephant Development, and we do fix and flips, we do rehabs, and we do wholesaling. And you talk about, I've never had a partner. I've done all my other businesses, no partners. Okay, so when I have a partner, what we talk about business, why do a partner? I choose partners because they're experts at what they do, and they're going to make me money.
Yeah.
I don't choose partners because I'm going to make them money and this person's just going to hustle and handle all the babysitting. I'm choosing partners at this point in my life knowing I'm going to make money and they're going to make me money. It's not just me making these people money.
Well, it goes back to the whole principle of reciprocity. I mean, you're putting in your effort, you're putting in your talent and your value into an idea or a project or a business, right? And then, I think it also connects with what you were saying about employees and paying, you know, for example, paying for tuition or paying for programs or, you know, whatnot. It's gonna come back to you some way, somehow. That person is gonna make a comment down the road. They're gonna refer somebody over to you. I've held a bunch of, like, a lot of, I can't countless, a lot of people just figuring out how to structure deals. They'll call me, and it takes me 5-10 minutes, and I've done it, you know, a bunch of times, and they walk away with, okay, cool, I can lock this.
I've called you.
Yeah. And so I'll throw in my 2 cents. This is what I think about the deal, what you could potentially do. It may not happen on that deal, but you know what happens? 3 months, 4 months down the road, they call me, hey, listen, I got this that I'm working on. I mean, would you like to, you know, come in and JV on it, do something? You end up making thousands of dollars with people out of a conversation. And it all comes back to the concept of reciprocity. I mean, would you highlight it earlier? And I think it's when you have faith in what you're doing, when you have faith in your vision, and
when you have faith in general.
Yes.
In our good Lord above.
Yes, I'll capitalize on that. Yes, when you have that strength in that, you know, faith that you're holding on to, it's reciprocity is going to be part of the byproduct. It's not focusing on cool. I want to squeeze every little cent out of every deal. I don't want to squeeze, because you're going to do something good and it's going to come back to you some way, somehow down the road.
That's a good. Hey, you touched on a very important topic. There's been many customers throughout my multiple businesses where it was always price. It was always do this at this price or don't do it at all. And I turned down a lot of those contracts and a lot of those jobs. Mm-hmm. And then I started taking on jobs for prices that were lower than I wanted. And those were some of the best referrals that I ever got, because the people that were, you know, very cost conscious knew that I hooked them up. I gave them the unexpected and the unbelievable. And satisfaction was an understatement, because they were so satisfied with the result. And, you know, I've done 200,000 unit t-shirt orders. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's crazy, man.
It when pennies are margins, and it doesn't matter if you're doing, you know, a small job for somebody, or if you're changing somebody's windshield out and they ask you for, you know, a $30 discount and you say, sorry, we can't do that. Man, just help people if they're asking. And it doesn't always have to affect your bottom line, because guess what? I can't do that for you because I have to make sure that I have enough to cover this. However, what do you think about, you know, shooting me over some referrals if I do this for you out of good faith? You think that would be something that you could do? Yeah, I'll do it. And guess what?
Coming up with a creative solution.
Guess what?
It happens.
Half of those people, you're never going to hear from again. Yeah. And you just gave them a discount and they sent you nothing.
Yeah.
But the other half, they gave you some nice clients.
Yeah.
And they gave you some nice acclimates with, you know, what you did. Hey, this guy really took care of me.
Right.
You need to use him for all your stuff.
Right.
And so that's the strongest part of marketing, is word of mouth referrals, and the cost is free.
That was going to be my next question. So, you know, taking off and actually getting some traction in your business when the bucks are limited, when you're starting off and when you're building from the basement, how do you, I mean, what do you do? Well, I mean, now we have social media and all that stuff that wasn't readily available back in 2014. But what would you recommend somebody who's starting off on a brick and mortar business, and they want to, you know, get their voice out there as far as you know, marketing and start, you know, branding their product and pushing their product out to
social media is your biggest form of advertisement for the cost, right? I mean, it's free for you to build, a following and put out what you can do to help people. So figure out to make sure that your product is aligned with providing some sort of, helpful service, because if you're not a solution provided company, it's going to be very hard for you to make it.
How would you go about a social media campaign if you were starting all over again? Say that you had all the resources that you have right now back in 2004. What would you have done?
Oh my gosh, man! If Instagram and Facebook were around, man, it would have been one of those things where you have to share every single piece of what you're doing that correlates to your business, and then you have to give them a peek into why you're doing it, what purpose. So our green, that's what we're doing right now. We're really branding Green Elephant Development. Our plan for Green Elephant Development is not only do we give back a percentage of our proceeds on every single fix and flip that we do to elephant conservation, all right, but we try to put green, environmentally friendly products into our builds, whether that's artificial grass or solar panels or recycled glass or reclaimed wood or Nest thermostats or energy efficient light bulbs. We're trying to make a low impact on the environment. And then additionally, what we're doing, we're going to take a trip to South Africa, and we're going to celebrate some of those wins that we've set some goals for. And we're going to go see the elephants that we're donating into our our foundation and helping elephants conservation from poachers and different things in Africa. So it's always a mission. You have to have a purpose. You have to be knowing why you're doing something, why you're going to work, what are you doing, and it's not, if we can make a small impact on the environment and we can help, 100, 200 elephants, then hey, that's what we chose to do. Right. It's going to be pretty cool for me and my partners to go to South Africa with our family and see the fruits of our labor and our team's labor and drive that content back to social media to let everybody else know that this was the purpose.
Create that awareness.
This was the reason that we wanted to do your project, and this is the reason that now we're rolling into retail remodels as well, kitchen baths. We're not just doing fix and flips for ourselves. We're now using our general contractor's license, our ROC, to offer remodels for, consumers, because we don't know where things are going as far as, the economy, and if we're going to have a correction.
It's multiple streams of income. I mean, either way, you have to set those up. I mean, especially if you have different avenues coming in.
Well, you just got to be ahead of the curve. As a CEO or as a business owner, you got to know that something's going to be coming, and you got to make sure you have a plan to offset whatever it is. Otherwise, you're asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Awesome, man. I love it. So what are your top 3 sources of information? For example, if you were, whether it be books, trainings, or something that you can recommend to entrepreneurs out there?
Good to Great, Traction, 12-week work year, and 1 Minute Manager. Those are my book recommendations. I love them.
I love 1 Minute Manager. That's a quick little read, and it has 3 bullet points in there, which I love, and they made a world of difference in my stuff. So
keep things simple, stupid, kiss, and figure out a way to make sure that the people in your organization's goals are aligned with your organization's goals. But ultimately, they have a choice and they have a say, and they feel good about where they're going. And whether that's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it don't matter. You don't own anybody. They don't owe you anything. Right. You'll learn that real quick as a CEO. When you think that your stuff don't stink and that they need you, you don't. You need them, but you need to make sure that whatever they're doing also aligns with their personal goals, because then you don't have to worry about all the negatives that come with, employees taking, stealing, cheating, things like that.
At the end of the day, everybody works for themselves, right? So, I like to see it this way. If I'm with somebody who works in my company and I'm making an introduction, I always say we work together. Yeah, we work in the company, and it's because I see it from this stance. Everybody's working to make their own life, right? Whether you're just a vehicle. So it doesn't matter how big you think your guns are. At the end of the day, you're just going to be a vehicle for that person.
Yep.
You can be a beat up Datsun, or you can be a Ferrari for that person, but you're a vehicle, right? You can only make it as good as the environment, the culture, and the recognition for them to stay and actually support your vision and push through it. So I love it, man. Yeah, you've dropped a ton of golden nuggets. I'm very, very pleased with the conversation. Now, favorite question: if you were talking to your 17-year-old self, if you were ran into your 17-year-old self down the street, what would you tell that kid?
Man, that's a great question. I would tell that kid to check himself, because if anybody knew me when I was 17, and I think Steve Trang has said the same thing one of those times, he was a cocky little kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. I would say that there's a big world out there, and you're a piece of it. And the quicker you realize what role you play in the world, the more successful you're going to be with your relationships and your financials.
I love it. I love it, man. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, man.
All right,
I appreciate you
it, man.
coming in and having that full, transparency conversation with us.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that the listeners and the viewers are going to take away. If you can't take away at least 10, 15 things out of this, you need to stop watching the podcast.
Hey, thank you again, man, for keep doing what you're doing. You're helping a lot of people. Mad respect.
Thank you, bro.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Glad to have you.
Cool. Thanks.
So there you guys have it. The CEO Pulse Podcast, the real, the raw, and the mindset of entrepreneurship. Actually, the mind of entrepreneurship. Stay tuned. Stay focused. You got this.